Hi, this is going to be my updated review of the Saddleback Classic Large Briefcase. This is the dark coffee brown variant. If you watched my previous video, I brought up a couple concerns about the bag that I thought were possibly manufacturing defects or issues with the quality control of the bag. I emailed them about 4 or 5 days ago and just received a response this afternoon, and I wanted to post a quick video talking about what the responses were. In essence, if you don't want to sit through the whole video, what they essentially said was that everything found on this bag, from what they see, appear to be normal, that they do not have any concerns. However, if I still have any continuing concerns, please feel free to mail in the bag and they would be happy to evaluate it and make any changes or repairs as necessary. So I brought up the concerns in a bulleted list like I did in the video, and they responded in kind. So I will read to you exactly what they said about each section and show you the exact part that they were discussing. So the very first thing that I brought up in my original email to them was a little bit of fraying that occurred on this outside edge right here, where my body rubbed against it the most, and the area where there was no issues with that stitching previously. The response was, that bit of a frayed thread is now sticking out is very common. There's a very simple fix. What we normally do is trim that thread with a snip of the scissors, then gently singe it with a lighter, a few short strokes. This works best for fraying thread and a loose stitch. It warms the thread and secures it. This is typically what is listed online, as well as for the way to fix fraying threads. The issue I had with this response was that I had actually brought up 3 separate areas in which the thread had frayed, and my concern was that this is excessive. If one piece, maybe 2 pieces, had started to fray, I would be okay with it. That it's 3 separate spots popped up within 2 months was very concerning to me. Nothing was specifically addressed about the time range of the concerns, rather that this was typical, this was expected, and that if I had singed those sections, it would be able to actually secure them. The second area that I brought up were the concerns with the holes in which I secure the bag at. So my big concern was for this top hole here, where you can see the leather is kind of separating a little bit. But there are also 2 other holes here that I've used a handful of times, and those also have leather that's starting to separate out. Their response to this was the holes are going to stretch out a bit with use and cinching because it's full grain leather. With that being said, however, if you would like us to evaluate the separation / cracking issue, we can definitely do that. So their response was essentially that this is typical, this is expected, and that it will not worsen and will basically improve with time as the leather age. And this is an expectation. As I said in my previous videos, I've owned multiple pieces of leather varying from price. This is actually the most expensive bag I've ever bought. And I've never actually ever seen this issue with a bag, from my $200 Texpo up to $400 and $600 bags I've owned. This is my first $800 bag, and this is the first bag in which something like this was seen, but it could be the leather that they're using. It sounds like they fully expect this type of thing to happen. So if anyone is thinking about buying a bag, please be aware of the fact that this type of separation may occur and is completely normal. If that's something you don't think you're comfortable with, perhaps Saddleback is not the best brand for you to be working with. The third issue I brought up was about the hardware issue. So specifically, and my largest concern, was about the clip that I showed in my previous video, in which that there appears to be breakdown in the stainless steel hardware, or what I thought to be stainless steel hardware on my bag. So what I sent them was a photo of the 2 D-rings where I had issues, as well as the inside of my stainless steel clips. What they said was, from the picture it is difficult to tell whether the hardware is stainless or not. Even with stainless, Dave did not want to use a lot of coating on it because he felt the natural marks on the hardware was more suitable for our style of bags. To determine whether you have stainless, check the O-ring at the top of your briefcase. If it has a slight notch / separation where the O-ring meets, it is not stainless, but friction will cause lacquer to come off the D-rings with either type of hardware. So it appears that what they're trying to say is that this was engineered into the design of the products, that they engineered these rings and pieces of hardware to basically show their age a little bit quicker, and that they felt that this fell more in line with the design of the Saddleback hardware and what you expected to see in Saddleback hardware. I checked my specific bag, and my bag, if you turn this O-ring around, does actually have an area of separation right here in the ring, which from what they told me means that this is not stainless steel hardware. This is likely my own fault. I was under the impression, after reading various articles about Saddleback, that all of their bags were only made from stainless steel hardware and not coated metals or plated metals. This appears to be incorrect, and there appear to be two separate types of material used on the bag, and my particular bag does not use stainless steel. The next issue I brought up was about the inside of the bag here, with this kind of area of separation along the bag, which I felt to be atypical. The bag did come with natural markings along the peg, but however, this area here, if I bring this closer, appears to be separation of the leather. So if you look here, that flap appears to come up a little bit, and you can clearly see the underlying leather underneath. I sent multiple high-resolution photos, and the response I got is sometimes there are natural markings on our pigskin, as with our cowhides. However, if that lining wasn't received with it, we can bring it back in for an evaluation to check for peeling. So if it was received this way, the response was essentially, this is a natural marking and not peeling. If it was not here at the beginning, then it may be peeling. Given that there was an initial mark, I think what they're saying is that this is just the natural mark of the skin. However, it just seems odd to me in really close-up shots that would be the case, because it literally appears as if you can see a separation of what is underneath and the overlying pigskin. But they do make it very clear in all of their statements that they do use pigskin with natural markings and leave it there, as well as leather with natural markings and leave those there as well. You can kind of see in my bag it has stretch marks, which I'm okay with and I really do enjoy. But I do feel like this may be a bridge too far in trying to justify what may have been a production error with just don't worry about it, it's just natural markings in the pigskin. The next issue that I brought up was that along the shoulder straps, where I most use it, in the two most commonly used areas, there is breakdown of the stitching and fraying of the stitching. And I was told, similar to solution number one, that's a simple fix by trimming the thread and singeing it gently back and forth with strokes to warm and seal the ends of the thread. Now, I will say I was given the option of sending this bag back in. I was told the turnaround time is roughly about 6 weeks, and that they would evaluate the bag, and if any repairs or changes needed to be made, they would be happy to make those and send the bag back to me. However, from everything that they saw, they did not feel that it was appropriate to call any of these at the given time errors in production or problems with the bag, and that they did not feel that the bag warranted any type of replacement. This second video that I'm putting out is essentially just to show you what Saddleback responses are, and to any consumers out there that are thinking of spending about $800 for a bag, what to expect in the quality of bag that you're getting. I was under the impression that what occurred to my bag was likely atypical and not typical of what you would expect from Saddleback leather, and that they would be more than happy to address those issues because they had a bag out there that I would say had more imperfections than was typical. My biggest concern is that the areas of the stitches fraying, especially 3 popping up so very quickly, is worrisome to me. Now granted, I will give them the chance and the benefit of the doubt and use this bag, and if more stitching does start to fray, I will bring that up again with them in the future. As for the hardware, it's completely my fault. I thought they used stainless steel in all of their bags. I went back and reread some of their websites, and it doesn't say they use stainless steel. It says something along the lines of they use the best hardware they can get. Nowhere do they say that they actually not plate their hardware or use as much covering on the hardware, and that it's designed to wear down faster than other hardware over time, and that is part of their look. If I had known that, I may not have made such a big deal out of the hardware failing or what I thought was failing. However, even my $200 Texpo bag, after 2 years of continuous usage, doesn't have the level of breakdown in chrome that I'm seeing in 2 months of usage of the Saddleback bag. The more frustrating 2 issues for me specifically revolve around these leather strap holes. I wish I knew before I bought this bag, my first Saddleback bag, that this type of separation and change in the leather was expected. This is something I've never seen in any other leather bag before. Maybe I was really lucky, or maybe that this is something unique to Saddleback. But to me, using a strap hole just a handful of times and having this level of separation is a sign that maybe the leather isn't as strong as it should be, given the fact that I've never seen this anywhere else. However, I will now start using the strap hole again, and hopefully it stands the test of time. I am sure if there are any tears or further issues, they would be more than happy to replace it. My second concerning issue that I am a little frustrated about is this right here that they're calling a marking and a natural marking on the skin of the peg. The reason I'm a little bit concerned about this is because I would not call what appears to be a tear on the outermost epidermal surface of the pig to be a natural marking. Scarring, stretching, I'm okay with. An actual very clear physical tear, I am not as okay with. However, in their email, they made it very clear that if the bag did not arrive with this, they would be happy to fix it. But if it did arrive with this, that this is completely natural. I'm guessing under the assumption that it went through their quality control process. So quality control obviously saw this and was cool with it and called it natural. So I will do the same thing. And my hope is that this does not continue to spread or worsen. If it does, I will be contacting Saddleback. Now, my final decision point was whether or not I send this bag in to be evaluated in person by Saddleback. I feel like I sent enough high quality photos that that's not necessary. I will essentially now be ordering the Texpo bag as well as other bags in the future, and this is going to be my example of a Saddleback Classic briefcase that I will be using to compare against competitors. I will be taking into account the issues that have arisen in this bag in my comparison, since I've been told that this is typical wear and tear. So please look forward in the future to other bag reviews and how those bags hold up as compared to a Saddleback bag. Again, this is my review or updated review of the Saddleback Large Classic Briefcase in dark coffee brown.